Okay, we should now be live. Okay, so we've got a bit of an interesting setup. We've got some. Okay, I actually just want to make sure that everyone can hear me first. I think somebody should be active in the chat. So before we go ahead with all of that, can you hear me? Can you hear me all right? Let's see that first, and then we'll carry on with everything else. Well, while we're waiting for that to see if everyone can actually hear me, we'll have a look at this webcam. No, not this webcam. The other webcam. You can see there's kind of a bit of a shelf cloud coming in on this webcam here. Nothing much, but it does look decently cool, I guess. I think I can be heard, so we'll just get on with it. Okay, so at the moment we've been tracking this system for quite a bit now. It's been importing some a heavy band of rain with some embedded thunderstorms as well coming through. If we have a look at the lightning, you can see that with this band of rain here, we do have some lightning strikes. It looks like they may be about to make landfall pretty shortly actually, which is good. But you also notice that there are some thunderstorms ongoing just over France here. You can see them there, and you can see them on the lightning tracker as well. And these are in a more favourable environment. The fact that this band of rain here is still producing some lightning is quite a miracle, because the mixed level cape in these areas is pretty low. Let's have a look at the outlooks that people have been doing. First, we'll start off with NetWeather's outlook. You can see in the southeastern part of the UK, you'll notice that we have a strong thunderstorms possible risk, and there's a heavy rain / flooding hazard here, because there is a bunch of heavy rain that will be associated with this. It will be faster moving, which is why the Met Office have not gone ahead and issued a yellow warning for rain or thunderstorms or whatever, but it does look like it could still be strong at times. I also did one as well. You can see I've gone for a similar area. There is a bit of a, as you can see, outline of both of it. There was a small like shower chance in Northern Ireland specifically that has been causing a few lightning strikes throughout the day. And hand dry outlooks one also has actually a moderate risk here in this area here, which on hand dry's outlook indicates that widespread thunderstorms are likely, perhaps turning severe in places. But there is an enhanced risk here. There's no severe hatching, because these aren't really meant to be severe storms. The only real severe aspect to these storms will be the heavy rain that is likely to come with this. If we have a look at the current environment that the storms we're talking about right now, in fact, you can see they're still pretty active in the channel, surprisingly. So I'll just try and show you here what I'm talking about. So these storms here, never mind. Looks like, oh look, there we are. You can see these storms here, that they are quite active at the moment, and that's because they're in a way more favourable environment than the occasional lightning strike storms that are currently just edging towards the UK at the moment. If we just zoom out again to get the wider picture, that should be okay. Hold on, wait. Yeah, these are the thunderstorms that we're talking about. These ones here, they're really going off now, and you can see that batch there isn't really doing as well. Meanwhile, these two are kind of heading directly up towards the far southeast at the moment. And the reason that they're able to sustain themselves that well is because these storms that have been down in the west of your screen have been sustained mainly on surface-based cape, and you can see they are still going. They're doing a pretty good job at the moment, but they have been struggling a bit as they've gone through the channel, purely because of the lack of mixed level cape, which is the thing that would sustain these storms as they went over the sea. So you can see the cape charts here. So at 14Z, which was an hour ago, this is what it looked like. You can see practically no mixed level cape here. However, in France you can see that we do have quite a bit, which is very interesting. And this is what has been sustaining these storms right here. You can see on the lightning tracker, the ones that we're tracking right now. That's what's kind of been sustaining it. If we head into 16Z, which is in an hour's time, you can see that cape continues to rise up. And I think what the hope is for specifically... Hold on, wait, why is my extension not loading? Okay. These areas, or this specific area of the UK, where we could get some thunderstorms clipping, is that this cape will continue to move up, and in 2 hours time, what does it do? It continues to move up. So that means that these thunderstorms could be sustained and a bit more locally severe. Now looking at what we've got right now, if I just switch to a webcam, there was actually kind of a mini shelf cloud earlier, but I think at this point these two webcams are now pretty much engulfed in rain, so I will have to find some new webcams shortly. Yeah, you can see this is Brighton right now. Brighton is completely soaked. The rain isn't too heavy in these areas because it has weakened off a bit in the past few minutes or so. No, not past few minutes, past hour or so, the volume of the rain. As it was going over France and Jersey, there was some crazy rainfall or reflectivity values coming out of it. But now, if we have a look at the rainfall radar, you can see it's still heavy-ish. Sorry, I'll switch back to that. It's still heavy-ish, but it's not necessarily as heavy, especially in these areas. It isn't as heavy as it was seen before. Now, these cells here, these are the things that are firing up. They could potentially, yeah, my marker extension is not going to work, is it? These could potentially move up, clipping the Canterbury area as we go throughout the day. And I believe landfall on these is expected at roughly 5 o'clock, so that's in an hour's time. You can see that these storms here, if you look at the lightning tracker to the side, they are still pretty active. Meanwhile, the western cells, or the northern, actually, in comparison, the northern cells are a bit more less active. Alright, I'm going to check around, because Southern Storm might be live soon, and he has given permission for me, or I'm not sure, I'm assuming there. Could be she as well. But they've given permission for me to use their stream. So if they do go live, I'll put that up on one of the webcam slots. But at the moment, you can see that it is quite active at the moment in the channel, which is surprising. You'd expect the channel to have killed all of these off by now. But at the moment, the mixed level cape there does appear to be sustaining them enough, especially if you look at it, these storms just coming off France at the moment. They are popping off. This storm here, you can see, has been hampered by just being in the channel, because every single thunderstorm that goes into the channel apparently just cannot sustain itself at all. The northern cells that we've been talking about for a while, they've been coming up for quite a bit now, but now they're kind of just embedded in this heavy rain line, and they're not really bringing much electrical activity. You can see they've been dying off throughout the day. However, these ones here could go straight south, sorry. Unlikely that we get any thunderstorms over here in Gloucestershire. Yeah, it is looking quite unlikely. Looking at the radar at the moment. Oh yeah, we do have... Apparently we have drawing capabilities now. But looking at the radar, it is looking quite unlikely. You can see that we've got this band of rain coming up here at the moment. But the real thunderstorm activity, I'll show you the thunderstorm outlook, is going to be around the southeastern area. Really, you could get a really nice surprise, but I think it is quite unlikely that around Gloucestershire any thunderstorm activity will occur, I'm afraid. Anyway, the idea is that these storms currently in well, in the more southern areas that are currently heading up from France. And look at that, we still do have some active activity in the dying northern cell, northwestern cell, but these could try and move up and clip Kent later on, which would be good. It would certainly be surprised because everyone has been calling it a bust for the past few hours, even though we haven't had real landfall, the real storms. Yeah, it is a shame, Toxin. I agree. Yeah, likely will just be a rainy night. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna take a quick look for any better webcams at the moment because these ones right here have already been soaked. So I'm gonna do a bit of looking out for that. But you can see really exploding in France, and if these do head up and they do sustain themselves, especially that first cell here that we had um, not long ago, the one on the west side of the Thunderstorm tracker screen, that's suddenly come back to life again as well, which is a bit of a surprise. Well, I mean, not really a bit of a surprise. It's just going in and out, in and out. And that same cell we're talking about is this one just here, and we have a chance that these could move up and possibly clip Kent, which would be a pleasant surprise to everyone everyone in Kent. This one down here, though, which has been being tracked quite a bit throughout the day, it was quite heavy when it was down here, but now that it's gone through the day, it's more mainly turned into just some heavy rain. Really, that's all. That's all it's really been, with some thunder into it. Meanwhile, these storms, which are down here, they still do have some active lightning activity because, as I said, we do have some pretty good mixed layer cape at the moment, and I'll show you that again. You can see down there, mixed level cape right now is pretty well sustaining any thunderstorm activity that does go up, and it certainly is going up as we speak. Alright, let's have a look at Southern Storm. Has he gone live? I'll put a webcam up while we're here. Something interesting is going on in Brighton, I think. Wait, let me just switch to that one. Never mind, it's just dark in the distance, really. Thought it would have been a little bit of a shelf cloud, but unfortunately it doesn't look like that's happening. Right now, the other webcam is in the rain, unsurprisingly. Southern Storm hasn't gone live yet, but I think Southern Storm is repositioning at the moment anyway. Might not even go live at all, which is fine, This is mainly just a test stream because the thunderstorm risk today isn't as elevated as other risk days could be in the future. Anyway, back to the radar. We'll just head back to the radar for a moment. And what is going on? So right now, I think there is quite a lot of lightning activity going on right now. It's kind of exploding in the southwards area. You can see that first storm is having bursts of lightning and unlightning activity, you could say, from time to time. It's really trying to decide what to do. I'm going to go and look for a webcam while we're on this. While we do that, I'll put the webcam on here, and then I'm going to keep looking for the other one. I love how lightning maps keeps putting anomalous strikes in Cambridge for whatever reason. It's just quite funny if I'm being honest. Right, so sure there's a good camera hanging about somewhere. Ugh. We'll head back to the radar for now so you can see the live um, lightning strikes on radar simultaneously. So we'll do that for now while I keep looking. I'm on the verge of finding something, I know it. It appears it's still sunny in Essex, which is interesting. And it also appears that the lightning tracker is frozen. Oh no, it's trying its best. We'll just reload it for now, see what happens. It might just completely crash the stream. We'll have to see. Oh no, something's happening. It doesn't look that bad. Right. Should we get the Essex cam up? I guess we could. Yeah, we certainly could. No. It's probably not in the right area though. Let's be real. It's hazy in the Colchester area, suspect suit. Look at those storms there in northern France. They are absolutely going for it. There is some crazy lightning numbers happening on that, quite clearly. If we could get a Hastings webcam. Hastings webcam. See that. Decisions. Looks like it is starting to rain in Eastbourne. But yeah, wow, finding webcams is so annoying. It's all to play for if you're a Ken, by the way. Because firstly, you can see that insanely active thunderstorm on your screen over there. Because it's tapping into, I keep saying this, but all of the mixed level cape that we're seeing. And you can see it down there, it's just in the perfect environment really to pick up and produce some good storms. And that is going to move northwards as we go through the day. So yeah, that's certainly interesting. We head back to the rain live radar, we can kind of have a look at these cells in more detail. So we have this one right here. Hold on, wait. Why does the page marker extension never want to load? Okay, there we are. So it's this one right here that is insanely active. You can see also the reflectivity values on there are pretty ridiculous as well. Pretty much maxing out on the scale for how wet it can get. And if we have a look at the past few radar scans, you can see it's heading in this direction really. So it could literally only just clip Kent. However, it needs to stay in a favourable environment to the point where nothing kills it off, because we've seen it here. This band of rain here has been trying to get going for ages. In fact, it has been going for the entire time in the channel, but as it hit the England force field for thunderstorms, it died off. And that's the problem all of these storms have really been having. This storm here was a bit more intense. That's where the actual cell generally is. But this is the most intense storm at the moment because it's in the best environment, and that's why it's absolutely popping off. And these two both look certain to possibly clip Kent unless they go into a collision course and potentially ruin each other, or just go into a less favourable environment in general. I'm pretty sure we'll have the 15Z UKV run soon as well, so that'll be interesting to see. You can still very active just in France, and it keeps wanting to go south, or it is staying to that kind of pattern at the moment. We'll just go through the outlooks again. So this is what NetWeather are saying, particularly Nick Finis, he's going for severe thunderstorms possible in France, with strong thunderstorms possible in the UK. And he has put a heavy rain / flooding tag for potential severe effects in the UK itself. And that's because if you have a look at the radar, there is some heavy rain that could be involved with this, especially on this storm here, which is quite active at the moment. I don't know why I had to close my page marker, because now it's going to take ages to load again. Hand dry outlook as well. Quite a reliable outlook maker, because they made HOCO, which is a very useful tool for predicting thunderstorms in the UK. You can see they did actually outline a moderate 4 out of 5 risk, specifically over the channel, and that is actually where we're seeing this intense thunderstorm at the moment, as it continues to move up. Now, there is the chance here that this storm is oddly taking a really odd track, or at least the electric activity is. And it has a chance of moving south into Kent. It does have a chance of clipping it. But the best real chance for anybody in Kent to actually see a thunderstorm would be the dying cell on the western side, on the left-hand side of the lightning screen. James says, I won't see any storms in Chicago while I'm there next week. Yeah, probably not. It looks like severe weather has died down overall in the US. Yeah, still very active at the moment. We might be able to actually get a good look at the UKV. Yeah. Okay, so we'll go through the UKV as things. This was a run at around Saturday, and we can actually compare to what it's meant to be looking like now to what it actually is looking like. This is what it's meant to be looking like now. I'm not sure why I'm stuttering like that, but this is what it is meant to be looking like around now. And we have had initiation on some of the. Hold on, wait. Why does it keep moving like that? That was really annoying. We'll actually zoom in a bit, maybe. So you'll notice that the thunderstorms that are currently going up down here, these have been actually pretty well forecasted by the UKV. You can see these two here are the ones that eventually upscale into the potentially more notable storms that we currently have at the moment. You can see them on the lightning tracker right now. And the question is, do they, in the model itself, actually track up to be potentially thundering? Now you can see as well the other cells here. These are the ones that you can actually see on the more left-hand side as well. And they are trying to produce lightning, but they're actually struggling because they're in a less favourable environment right now. As we go through the run, however, you'll notice that this storm does appear to actually clip Kent. And then you can see that even more stuff starts to build in. Sorry, I'll scroll down a bit. You can see that even more stuff starts to build in at around the 17Z mark. So that's in about not too long until that happens. So there's a chance that we could see an upscaling there. It could result in some thundery activity also occurring. Heading back to the live radar, you can see still very intense cell here. And we've got another one developing here. That could potentially come here. We also have a potential intensification there. So all of these really have a chance of potentially causing Kent to have some lightning. This is why I also issued the enhanced risk as well for the Kent area. This has been pretty well modelled so far with the UKV, and pretty much everyone has gone for the same area in their convective outlooks. Okay, I'm going to yet again make an attempt at finding a good webcam. because that would be so useful, pretty much. That would just be insanely useful. We might just have to get a French webcam, actually. Okay, we do actually have a view of the thunderstorms. It's not a live webcam. That is quite annoying. Hold on, wait. I'll try and look for actual live webcams around Le Torquay, and we can just see them go by as they head up, hopefully to Kent later on. We do have lightning on that cell that is just heading up. That's interesting. So we do still have the potential. We do still have the potential of something happening. How am I pulling the power outage stats? Well, basically poweroutage.com/UK tracks a bunch of these power outage stats, and I was able to hook it up to the graphics system. Wasn't too bad to do. You can see that all of these cells are going up quite well, and they are still producing lots of lightning. We could definitely see a Kent Clipper within the next 1.5 hours. I think that is certainly a possibility at this point, if I'm being honest. So I'll just point out again, these cells here are going up in a really healthy environment. They've got lots of cape to kind of use, and they look like they could be clipping Ken anytime soon. So that is the real thunderstorm risk we're seeing here. We're just kind of seeing these kind of foreign imports, if you will, of thunderstorms. They're just going up in France. That's the hard loading part, getting the thunderstorms up, and then potentially making them hit Kent. Apparently we have a lightning strike here, but I'm not sure if that can actually be verified, considering the lack of muscle we're seeing with that storm at the moment. Alright, so what should we do now? I'm still actively trying to find some sort of webcam that could be useful at some point. What places should I look for? Possibly lid, Dungeness maybe. A Dungeness webcam would be good. That could be promising, actually. Maybe. Decisions. Yeah, I think we'll use that one if I can find the link for it. Yeah, there we are. That might be good. Alright, we're getting that in. We're locking that in. There we are, we have a new webcam up. So basically, Folkestone is just about here, and they should be in the firing line for some storms later on, so we'll keep a good eye on this webcam. I'll just switch to it here. No, that's the wrong one. There we are. This one here. So it does turn around a bit, but I mean that means we'll be able to see more of the view later on. Whereabouts are you from, James? Southern England. Hopefully we'll get a good coastal view in a second from this webcam. I'm actively one sec. Okay. I know this isn't. We'll wait until that webcam swivels back round to a good position, because it certainly is. Oh, possibly. Now I can see that dark kind of mass in the distance, and that's where kind of the thunderstorms have been developing. So we're hoping that webcam is going to stay there. Looking at the live lightning, actually, we'll have a look at the live lightning. Oh, what was that? I have no idea. Still very active. You could see that. That is certainly going for it. Loads of lightning. This cam is in Folkestone. So Folkestone's just about here. And they should be on the receiving end of this storm, hopefully. Yeah, it is certainly. Oh wait, we'll just delete all of that. It is certainly trying to stay alive, this storm here. Certainly is quite a lightning producer, and we may get more upscaling, some more convective initiation later on around Kent. So I think Kent certainly could get some very decent lightning, if I'm being honest. As I said, at the moment these thunderstorms are in a favourable environment, and they're going to move into a less favourable environment. So we'll get up the Cape charts again. So this is going to be in about 40-ish minutes time. No, 20 minutes time. If I just scroll down. Oh, really? Oh, that's cool. Drove there in your free period yesterday. That's sick. So this is the Cape. So this is the storm, the thunderstorm energy that is needed for these thunderstorms to go. And you can see this pretty much nearby, where all of this, where all of these thunderstorms take place. You can see that it's kind of like. In fact, you know what? This is about where the thunderstorm is now. It's really digging into that Cape reserve. It's about 600 joules per kilogram of Cape, which is nice and lovely. And if it can sustain itself as it heads up towards Kent, then Folkestone, Canterbury, that area could be in for a bit of a show. So that's what obviously the hope is at the moment. And you can see it is still producing lightning pretty well at the moment. Maybe not to the rate it was earlier, but it is certainly still doing quite well. And we'll switch back to that webcam in a second as it looks back out to the ocean again. You can see the darkening skies. It would be cool if we could get a nice little flash. Please. Please, it'd be cool if we could get a flash. No, alright. It does not look like the lightning is on our side today. Absolutely not. Clearly not at all. And now it's moving out of the right direction. I'm going to have a look at what the net weather thread is saying, because I may have missed something that might be important there. Yeah, Thunderstorm is certainly not live at the moment. It's okay. It's fine. I've missed about a whole page. This is crazy work. Go back to the radar again, I think. Probably a good idea. See what these cells are doing. Okay, so have we had a bit of a handover? No, I think this is still the dominant cell down here. Interestingly, in terms of precipitation, at least. We'll just watch these two cells here as we loop through. So these developed quite a bit ago, and you can see them start to move up. You can see that first cell there. Now you can also see we have a cell of interest there that isn't really doing much at the moment, at least. And the chances are these do head up and possibly clip Kent. You never know. There is a chance. There is certainly a chance. And at least the electrical activity does seem to be heading in the Kent direction. So I think Kent is in for something here. I'm not going to lie. There is certainly a chance. So in the way of lightning activity, nothing is that prominent apart from the Kent Clipper situation. So I really think that if you're in Kent, you could see, or specifically the more eastern areas of Kent, you could definitely see quite a bit of lightning activity. Even more hazy. Let's do even more hazy. You know what, I think I'm on the verge of getting my first few drops of rain in ages, which would be wonderful. Don't think it's long until that's happening, which is wonderful news. But these are still making their way up. They're doing quite well. We had 10 viewers at one point. I didn't even realise. That's wonderful. You're rain all night, James. R.I.P. R.I.P. Ooh, cheeky little lightning strike right near. I think that's Dungeness, or the Dungeness area. That's potentially a lightning strike, or it could be a contaminated one. We'll see if that appears or disappears. For it to be a verified one, you'd expect it to come with multiple instances of it, and that would be the second time they've had lightning. which is pretty crazy. You've had two storms taking practically the same track. And you can see that large body of rain potentially correlated with some lightning activity. The question is, will these... Actually, I haven't really thought of this. Will there be a kind of a cell merger? Because we've got that, we got that. Quite a bit. You're praying for some heavy rain, Lucid. I think if you're in this area, you should hopefully get some. I do think that. If you're more, wait. If I just move the radar real quick. You can see here, if you're in this area, you're certainly going to get some, at least decent rainfall. 2 flashes just north of Brighton. Oh, hello. That is certainly exciting. So maybe it isn't completely over. Wait, north of Brighton? Hold on. Because like there doesn't appear to be any activity. Oh, north, sorry. Oh my god. Okay. So it appears we are still seeing some embedded lightning activity. In fact, it should show it on the lightning tracker, so we'll try and move that. I'm in southeast London, so hopefully. Yeah, you should. Isn't showing anything, but I assume you see the webcam, James, that... You can see it's also quite exploding in France as well. Oh, he disappeared. Not sure why that happened there on the Blitz map. Oh, yeah, that'll just be because with a high amount of lightning activity, there are sometimes contaminated strikes. So strikes that shouldn't count. We should hopefully get an example soon, because they are rather common and they get removed pretty quickly once they realise that it wasn't a widespread detector event. This up here, there was one in Cambridge earlier as well, and there was just no precipitation involved with it at all, which is quite interesting. Hopefully we'll get a better view soon from Folkestone, because the lightning activity is still quite elevated. We can see lightning activity is still quite elevated at the moment, but these intense cells are starting to kind of merge together even. If we just go back on the map here. You can see it's kind of a mess here, and they are, if we could just have a look at the radar quickly. Have a look at the loops. You can see they are kind of moving in this. Yeah, you could. It's really interesting. So I'll scroll down a bit, or maybe I'll have to zoom out or something. Maybe that might be the antidote to this issue. There we are. So we just go back a bit. 3 strikes inland. Wait, so you could see these cells here. They're moving pretty much linear to the direction of motion, but you can see the actual heavy core is moving a bit southwestwards even. And what's likely going to happen within the next few minutes is that these cells here are going to merge with this one here. And now, will that keep the lightning activity? I don't know. I'm not completely sure what will happen here. But it will certainly be interesting. North of Hastings, okay. It might not show that on the lightning tracker, but I assume you're seeing that visually. Wait, I'll just check that. We can check that. Yeah, something is happening. Those cells there could certainly merge, and then continue trying to actually almost go directly towards Folkestone. And that does appear to be what they're doing. I'll just have a look at the lightning detector. See where of that. Yeah, it isn't showing anything in land, but I assume if it's a visual report, then the lightning detectors aren't just detecting it. Which indicates that we are seeing definitely some thunder activity. I'll just show you there. Might be worth us kind of like moving it up. On the windy weather radar, okay. So we'll move this up. I just want to show as well, there is some crazy convective action going on in France. It's heading into Belgium, I believe, as well. Absolutely crazy stuff. But if we move up to, of course, the less entertaining thing here in the UK. You can see that these certainly look like they could move up and get it here, and they are certainly trying to. But they're going to have some problems with trying to merge with all of these other storms, which are also doing the same thing. Or moving in a different direction. So they're going to collide. They are going to collide. And if that is favourable or not, that is certainly a question that is a bit open-ended at this point. We'll switch back to the webcam down here for a bit. See if there's actually any lightning activity that's visible here. Cheeky lightning strike? No, why would you do that? Why would you do that? And there have been reports of thunder from multiple sources so far. I'll be back in a second. One sec. I'll just put it back onto here. Okay, I'm back. So lightning's still ongoing. The thunderstorm there is actually starting to struggle now because of the merger that it's trying to do. Just a reminder what the UKV is saying, because we need to favour that into what we're saying as well. So this is what it's meant to look like right now, or in 4 minutes time, it's meant to look like this. Now we have a bit more convection sorry, I'll scroll down because you can't see that. We're meant to have a bit more bit less convection than what we're having right now. So that is certainly very interesting that we're getting that. And what happens as we move into the next hour? That's going to move over, possibly less weak, possibly more weak. However, notice what happens there. You can see something starts to build up again, and we may see more convection clipping Kent here. That could be more intense as we head to around even maybe 9 o'clock. So this is actually more of a long-term event than we're really thinking here. And we'll get the 15Z UKV run soon, which will hopefully clarify a bit. I've scrolled up again, haven't I? Which will hopefully clarify a bit more on this. This is the convection we're talking about that could pop up again. So this is that's that moving through. About to make landfall. Making landfall in not very long at all, actually. In about an hour's time, it'll make landfall. It'll die off, and there's a chance of some more convection showing up here. You can see it right here. I love it when the pen works. But we can see it down here pretty much. And this convection here has the chance of popping off quite a bit. Oh, is the lightning upticking again? Possibly, maybe. Who knows? It's all a bit over the place. Maybe it's just trying to merge and it's having a bit of an issue doing that. We'll have to see. But yeah, this convection here is something that we have to look out for, because it looks like a second round of convection will come through, potentially leading to more thunderstorms as we head through. So that's certainly something to watch. Looking at the live rainfall radar, hopefully we're going to have an update on this soon, but you can see they're really starting to merge now. In fact, this cell here has started to intensify as well as this cell here. So this is the whole thing. We're going to wait until that Folkestone camera is back in action again, back looking in the right direction, because hopefully we could see some thunderstorm activity. If we just head to the other camera as well, something interesting might be happening there. It's kind of like the calm from after the storm, really, we're seeing on this camera. It had a lot of rain earlier, but it looks as if it's cleared now. That's not to say it won't start building back in, because in other areas it does seem to be happening like that. It is now raining for me. I'm actually seeing rain, and it's crazy to see something falling from the sky. What is this crazy thing falling from the sky near me? It's incredible, really. It is incredible. We're hopefully gonna. You can see there's actually some lightning strikes really happening now. Down here. What is lightning maps doing? Removing all of them. What is going on? But despite the merger, it does appear to still be quite a healthy storm that we're seeing, or a storm complex, an MCS, mesoscale convective system, that we're seeing over here. My pen is still not loading, woohoo. Despite the storm merger, it does appear to be surviving the channel at the moment. And once it hits land, then it should be able to hopefully convect a bit more and be a bit more electrified in nature. That's hopefully something we see. We're going to switch back to this webcam here, see if we can see any lightning in the distance. Come on. All we need is one lightning strike. No? Alright then. Alright. If you say that... oh. Yeah, right. Well, that's just a shame, isn't it? That's just a shame. We'll move back to our view here. And you can see lightning activity is still elevated. I think Kent Clipper is looking likely now. Just heading up here, pretty much. Because the storm motion hasn't seemed to have harmed the electrification of it much. Which is good news for anyone in Kent that does actually want to see any lightning. And you can see another frame there. And look at that, it is starting to upscale in at least rain intensity as well. That is something interesting. We won't be able to see much from at sea at the moment, which is probably why this webcam is being so dodgy. Also, the lagginess of my stream is unfortunately not helping that much either. I'll try and improve that laggy issue in the future. But anyway, yeah, that's the current situation at the moment. We're still trying to see what these storms here will do. Because they are certainly still really attaching to the cape that we have in the environment at the moment. In fact, what's this here? What is this? This is right now. This is literally right now the cape that we have available. So if I just zoom out here, the cape available is there. It is leaving that reservoir of good cape, but there should hopefully be just enough to support some thunderstorms. That's hopefully the idea. But yet again, it will continue to struggle by the looks of it to try and keep going. We are seeing some, that might have been a ghost strike there, a contaminated one. Just over there to the, on the left of your screen. Anyway, this here is the kind of cape reservoir that we're talking about, and it is quite a high cape reservoir, which is why the storms were popping off so much back there. And now they're just struggling, really. They are just struggling as they leave the cape reservoir, because they're now about here, and they need to try and continue to have some energy to produce some lightning, if they're going to do it at all. Southern Storm isn't live at the moment, but that's okay. That's okay. Have a look at the radar again. Maybe we'll have an update soon. If we just zoom in a bit, maybe. There we are. Get a better look at this. So a lightning strike was just randomly added about here. So maybe this cell here that's actually, is it trying to go up? Yeah, there is a cell right there that has just got up in the past few minutes. That could be worth something if you're in the Essex area. And this here, it may look a bit suspicious to those of you who don't like, oh my god, potential supercell, but no, this is not a supercell. Or at least it's very unlikely to be one. Because supercells typically have this kind of structure on radar. Not this kind of structure. I don't think my drawing was actually visible there. But the actual storm activity itself is down here. And it's still merging pretty well. We've got that cell there happening, this cell here potentially going up as well. So it's happy days, really. It's happy days. Suit will get a power. Yes, Suit will 100% get a power cut. Don't you worry about that. Give it some time. Power outages. Here we come. So some kind of post-frontal convection here is what we're looking at. Later on in the day, we have a chance for storms going up in this area. Or, well, I mean, in this area behind the front relative to the front. So we'll have some potentially going up here, which could move in more of this direction. Potentially hitting Essex later on. East Sussex was what I meant to say for... Oh, yeah, look at that. That has really gone up. Yeah, that is quite an intense... That's quite intense now. Wow. So if you're in Hastings, there is certainly a chance here that you could get something. This cell here is quite explosive on radar by the looks of it. We do have a potential lightning strike from that storm as well. We'll have a look at the... We'll shift about the good old lightning tracker a bit. There's a potential lightning strike with that cell associated to it. I mean, this one here is certainly upscaled in strength, but it isn't really showing much lightning-wise. Meanwhile, this complex here, this MCS, is certainly still showing lightning activity, and it could certainly do something later on. We're going to go and switch to the Folkestone webcam in a second, because the Folkestone is there, so hopefully we could get a view of these thunderstorms here. And look at that, we've just got a strike there as well. We've got 2 strikes potentially, so it's certainly making landfall now within that enhanced area. So that's pretty good news. It's all starting to electrify now. Dungeness is so lucky. What is it with their luck associated just with flipping thunderstorms? They've had it 2 days in a row potentially. Oh no, those have just been removed anyway. We've started to see some lightning activity with, I believe, this cell here. We just had a batch of lightning strikes from it. We're also seeing still some activity from here at the moment. Yeah, again, I'm going to check that weather to see if I've missed anything. There could be some photos. Hawkhurst, Kent has got some thunder from Gone with the Wind. On net weather, that has been confirmed. Ryan, also on net weather, also confirmed some thunder, so thunder is happening. Hoping for another radar update soon, because that would help us with understanding more of what's going on. But you can see this cell here is trying to electrify, or at least these cells are. The lightning activity is starting to die down again because of these storm merges, I think, because they're all coming in. We've got left-hand movers and we've got right-hand movers. The right-hand movers are the more active ones. They're going to crash into each other because of the thunder reactivity that's occurring. Oh, it's quite dark outside now. And then it's going to keep moving up into Kent and Hopefully Kent will get something. I think they hopefully will, if I'm being honest. Oh, new radar update. Oh. And now Microsoft Edge has potentially crashed. Oh no, it hasn't. We're back. So we've got that one there. Really quite possibly a surface-based shower that has intensified here. And then, oh yeah, you can see the strikes now starting to go up again in activity as it heads towards the Kent area. But this shower here is something to watch because it shows that stuff is potentially showing up behind this. Potentially this one there could also upscale into something. We've also got these ones here. Now they're moving up to a bit of more of a messy mess. You'd only really be able to see lots of lightning potentially if you're in this area. It could be a better viewing experience. Lightning is starting to uptick. Yeah, look at that. So maybe something possible in a second. I'm just going to wait for that Folkestone camera to possibly return back to the right view, you could say, in a second, because it just keeps turning about, which is very annoying. Yeah, lightning activity still holding up despite the storm merger, so that's good. Certainly good news. There we are. Let's switch to that. It'd be amazing if you could just have a lightning strike, please. Nope. Certainly quite annoying. But it's fine, we move on. We can advance from this. Lightning activity continues. Oh, and a new radar update. Wait, no, was that a new radar update? No, it wasn't. I just looked at the preview, and that was apparently 5 minutes behind. But we should get another radar update shortly here, when we can see if anything else is starting to spawn. I'm going to take a look at the correlation coefficient, because we do have single site radars in France we can look at. Looks mainly Haley, I think. Some of these readings coming in at 200 millimeters per hour. Just kind of crazy. Kind of wild. The cell in Hastings is also worth watching. We're still yet to have a radar update, and electric activity is kind of struggling at the moment, but hopefully it'll be back in a second. Right guys? Right? And there we go, new radar update. This cell here isn't as intense as earlier. We could see it is starting to merge into one cell here. The lightning activity is really centered around this cell, however. So maybe this cell here will produce some lightning later on, but it's this cell here that's actually tapping into the cape. That is available at the moment, and that could drown out the other storm, in effect, by giving it less cape to work with. Lightning? Please? No? No. Alright. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, we're back. Oh wow, viewership falls when I'm not here. That means I must be good at talking, I guess. Wow, okay. Well, something's happening. Something certainly is happening. Let's have a look at the changes from the latest radar update. That is weakening, definitely. But it does show that something can go up if in the right conditions. It is certainly weakening everything else. We are having an uptick in power outages by the looks of it. I'm not sure if that's completely related to anything major, but that's happening, I guess. Actually switch back to a webcam here, because we can see we've got some convective cloudscapes happening. These are the ones that could potentially go up later on. They happen here. You can see them just at the top there. Looking back at the radar, what's changed from the last one? Let's see. Not much really. In fact, everything is just unintensified. Literally everything around it is just unintensified, which is great news. It appears the strategical thunderstorm barrier is working perfectly well to prevent any thunderstorm activity from happening. It's incredible, really, how advanced this technology is. Whoever made it should get a round of applause, personally. That's what I think. I'm just saying. It's very effective. It is extremely effective. Anyway, as I was saying, post-frontal convection does look like a possibility later on. Let's have a look at net weather. Is everyone moaning? Let's see. Yeah, hopefully we'll get another radar update soon. You can see the convective activity has died out quite a bit. Hopefully when it gets onto the surface, it will spring back to life, but I'm not sure I see that happening at the moment. Let's just switch back to here for a second. You can see that kind of just darkness in the distance, which is our areas of interest. Nothing is really happening at the moment that would suggest that these thunderstorms would really go back up again, unless it's able to tap into a good amount of cape. And this storm here on the right is the best storm that could possibly do that, at the moment at least. And if that could do it, then it could be quite the shot for anyone who's further in Kent. And this one here is still quite potent looking on radar, but we're not really seeing much coming from that. And we have just had some lightning actually potentially coming from this exact cell, which is good news. So potentially it could start going again. This particular cell here, it does appear to be getting fizzled out. But potentially, look, there it is. There we got another strike there from this cell. So maybe things are coming back into life again, and they're tantalisingly close to the coast now. So if you're in Kent, then it's likely going to hit soon. Hopefully we'll get another radar update soon, but that's something to keep an eye on. It appears these storms do still have some electrical activity. So hopefully they will keep going as we move throughout the day. New radar update. And still pretty intense cell here. This cell is actually holding itself. We've kind of got like 3 areas of interest here. This seems to be one storm in itself, and then this seems to be something here that could keep going. And these are looking very likely now to hit Kent. The question is, will anything electrical come out of it? That is the question, really. We've also got these bands of heavy showers here. These could go electrical later on. And then what we're hoping for is some post-frontal convection around this area. Hopefully. Later on into the evening. That should happen in about... Actually, we'll have a look here. Has the UKV just got on a new run? We go to the latest run. The latest run does appear to be 03Z at the moment, so we're still going to have to wait on that. But hopefully we should get an update soon. That's what I hope, at least. Because a new UKV model run would certainly be useful. We could try to look at the arome, to be fair. Let's do that. Okay, so if we go into the this is the arome. Okay. So at 12Z, this is what the arome had it looking like. Though actually, this is about 1 hour 30 ago. This is what the arome had it looking like. As we move through, what happens? Hello, and have we crashed? It appears this page is now unresponsive, annoyingly. I might just have to close it down. But I don't think at this point the arome is much use, because it is just convecting all over the place and not really giving that much of a clear argument as to what is going on. You can see still some lightning strikes happening, but they're not really that active at the moment. It's really unfortunate that they've all just died off simultaneously at the same time. Always seems to be the way. Always seems to be the way. We've at least had some lightning strikes within the UK, let's just say, sea borders. Haven't looked at the chat in a while. Has anything happened? No. Didn't think so. We might have a new update. We have a few seconds to look at this camera here for a potential sneaky lightning strike. No. Okay, and we do have a new radar update as well. So yet again, these cells are actually starting to fizzle out, which isn't that good. Not good news. this band of rain has mainly stayed the same, but hasn't really been producing any electrical activity. It's crazy how anything that tries to clip Kent just can't. It's just crazy how that happens, but alright, if you say so. Correlation coefficient radar from France suggests that all of this is rain mainly. There is potentially a chance of hail coming down, but it looks very unlikely from what we're seeing on French radar. I may end it here soon temporarily and come back in a bit. Because we may see some convection start to just pop up out of nowhere at any point. But for now it's looking pretty inactive. If you ask me, it's looking quite inactive. So I might end the stream temporarily here, but I'd stay... Like, maybe subscribe if you want a notification, even if you want to unsubscribe later for when I do go back live again, in the case that we do have convection showing up. But apart from that, I think we're going to hold it there for now, until an hour and a half's time, and then we might get back live again. But right now, it doesn't seem like much is happening right now. No! Come on. I need to click. I saved the day. It's okay. Alright. Oh, yeah, lightning. Apparently it's showing up again. Maybe I should stay on? Allegedly? Possibly? Would it hurt that much? And also, the heaviest part of the rain is coming right near Folkestone. So it's about to turn heavy in Folkestone soon. So I'll keep on this webcam for now. Heading towards Dover as well. Dover's going to get some heavy rain shortly. So we could stay on for a little bit, maybe. We'll see if any of these Kent clippers do Kent clip, I guess. Look at that, we have a chance for a small Kent clipper literally on the edge of Kent. I think that must be... not getting much more than that, apparently. Hope the graphic system is good. Spent quite a bit working on that. Oh, look at that new 30 update. And it is intensifying here. And here as well, we are actually seeing some more intensification. And is that showers behind it, I see? And also, these strikes are heavily outdated, but these are showers here. that have been popping up. Watch that, there. And they could do something later on. So they could certainly do something. We'll see later on what they do. But we've had some general intensification from here on this run and here on this radar scan. I'm going to do a UKV check. Still no 15Z run, which is highly annoying. But it's okay. Shortly, soon it should return. Soon it should return. No, I'm not sure we'll return. I've got our lightning strikes. They appear to have stopped right near Kent. However, there is a chance of a few lightning strikes over Kent, to be honest. So, I think the threat is certainly not gone. But you can kind of see from the lightning tracker how you've had the less inactive cell kill out the more active cells as they've crashed into each other. You can kind of see it here. It's kind of like a collision course. And that one has been able to suddenly just kill off any chances of convection from happening. Or convective, electrification. There we are. That's it. Certainly looking quite dark on the Folkestone webcam. Absolutely is. Good afternoon, Laura. We're currently witnessing storms just dying off in... Oh, it is raining now. Look at that. It's rain. That is incredible. We're watching storms die off as they try to clip Kent. It's probably a good idea to do an overview of what's happened so far. Alright. Look at this redonkulous lightning history. So you see all of these ridiculously active cells to the right of your screen on the lightning tracker, and you'll notice that there's this less active line of thunderstorms heading up in a more leftwards direction, and those leftwards ones just completely demolish the really active rightward ones that were occurring earlier, and you can just see that. It's crazy how this happens. Mostly in the channel, aren't they? Yeah. But they've just... It's like there's a force field around the UK. It's like it genuinely is. To stop any convective activity from taking place, there is just a force field around the UK that prevents it. It's crazy work. However, not all hope is lost, because we are possibly expecting some upscaling to happen later on, where convective initiation could take a second round and potentially go for it. Have a look at this webcam here. It's getting quite wet. Everyone else has left. There were quite a few fishermen here, but they've all left because of the rain. Maybe a sneaky lightning strike would be fun. Right? 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 Maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah, you are meant for the snow, I guess. And in the UK, especially at this time, the storms can just be like a rumble of thunder and not really anything. But seeing like a proper USA storm is probably epic. Desperately want to see all of those. Then again, James, you are a very snowy guy, you could say. Snowy guy. That's even a word. There is some winds coming with this. You can see it on the surface of the sea. That there is some rapid movement. So there are some winds involved with this. Of course, we don't have any velocity radar, so we can't really tell anything about these. In fact, we might, if I look closely. Velocity? No. The closest velocity radar we actually have is in the Netherlands radars, which are far away enough that they're just completely useless. Messier Blue was suggesting Thunder Lake tonight. Well, I mean, I'm gonna make a bold statement. If you are not in this area here, you're not gonna see any thunderstorms. Maybe this area here as well. If you're not in this area, you probably won't see any thunderstorms tonight. Might be controversial, but somebody had to say it. Apparently there's a lone lightning strike that's just happened near Kent. It's incredible. It genuinely is how these storms have just died out like that. But I mean, the only real chance now of anything happening is going to be post frontal convection, which we're starting to see hints of here. We've got this shower here that has popped up. Hopefully some showers could pop up here, and that should allow for something to happen. Now what's interesting with this bunch of showers here is these did just upscale recently. If we go back on the radar, watch, if I just circle an area here, watch this area here. And you can see these bunch of showers just start to upscale out of nowhere. And this is where they are now. There was 1 or 2 lightning strikes involved with this, but they haven't been able to get much. And also, we can go back in time and try and understand what caused all of this lightning activity to fail. In fact, I can't actually. I'm not even showing you any of this, and I didn't even realise. We'll switch back to this one here. So you can see here, we start to get these cells popping up just in France. These cells here. And what happens later on is they move in this direction. Meanwhile, we have over here, we have these, which are going to slowly move in this direction. In fact, no, it isn't even them. Kind of here. And these are the active ones. These are very active. But what happens is that these left movers just completely ruin the Alright, why did you do that, NetWeather? Why did you do that? I was doing a demonstration, NetWeather. But yeah, that's the latest radar scan. Not much anything has changed, really. Not anything has changed. let's go back. So we had this cell here that was producing remarkable lightning numbers. You can see that there from a few hours ago. It was producing remarkable lightning numbers. It then started to struggle as it went out into the channel and started moving in a left moving way. And while these right movers, you could already see on the lightning tracker, were doing brilliantly. They were doing wonderfully. They head up this way. And if we move forward on the radar, watch what happens. And you can see the precipitation, it goes good. And we were saying about this earlier, would the merge be healthy? But the thing was, you could see this storm here that was actually very active earlier. As it continues to move through, it died off a bit, only producing little amounts of lightning. Hello, net weather. And then as this caused the merging to occur, which killed them all off simultaneously. So what's happened is these cells have just been brutally murdered by that second storm there that just failed to get into a good environment. These storms here were in a good environment to hopefully keep going towards Kent, but this storm here was actually the thing that stopped that from happening. See the latest UKV ROM? Maybe? Will you show up, UKV? What do we need? The UKV! No, apparently not. Nothing is firing on these ones. So anyway, yeah, I think I'm going to end the live stream here. And if anything does start firing later on, I will go live again. I have a feeling it will. And that would be at around 8-9 o'clock when these things really start to upscale. You can see here in the UKV run. After these storms go through, after this first round of storms go through, you can see, if I just scroll down a bit, how all of a sudden there's some upscaling there. And that could hit these areas later on. And these could be thunder as well. Because is there some mixed level cape? There is going to be some left over for it to tap into. Like especially here at 9. Look at that there. We've got some cape reserves to tap into. And then that's when it's meant to happen. You can see it disappears, you could say. And that might just be related to the fact that the storms are going to be using that up. But clearly been quite a tragic day for storm activity. So I'm just going to... Oh? What? How desperately do you want me to stream lightning? Oh my gosh. So we've just had 2 lightning strikes there and there apparently. That'll be directly over this webcam here. Oh, I don't even know. I don't even know. Don't think it's worth carrying on there, because the last time they tried to do this to me, all of the strikes either disappeared and were contaminated, or... I think those were legitimate, if I'm being honest. Because there were multiple at once. But I don't think it's happening anytime soon. So, yeah. if you're not subscribed and want to be notified when I go back live, then subscribe so you'll be notified when I go back live, I guess. Even if you want to unsubscribe later, just have that in mind if you want to see the coverage later on. Alright. If there is any coverage, of course. Alright, I'll see you all later. Potentially. Maybe.